So the long-awaited and long-delayed Assetto Corsa EVO 0.4 update is here, and you want to know my honest thoughts on it. I couldn't make this video quickly because I kept needing to kind of explore this update. There's a lot of stuff going on. I want to start this video by saying that the AI is just like unacceptably poor in my opinion for a full price game. Even in early access, I think it's very much undercooked to what was alluded to in some of the earlier marketing materials. I don't think anyone should be blindly praising this game without commenting on the AI. This is the reason why we end up with undercooked games when they come out in full release, because outlets and influencers and YouTubers aren't critical enough. We're undercritical. So just wanted to mention that. But the update comes with brand new tracks, brand new cars, updated handling, and to some extent an improvement to the online. We're going to cover all that in this video. Firstly, in the cars, great selection of cars. We've got the Ferrari F40 here. I'm going to show you the new Ferrari F1 car as well. And there's the BMW GT4, which GT3 I was driving quite a bit as well. And there's a smorgasbord of new cars. Quite a lot of content in terms of the cars because they've delayed the patch so much. We've also got some incredible tracks in terms of the Monza, the Nordschleife, Alton Park. So a nice selection of tracks also. And you can see here, driving the Ferrari F40, it sounds great, it looks great, the handling is fun. Okay, and I think Assetto Corsa EVO has fun handling. To me, it's still, and I've said this for a few updates now, it feels like the most realistic track day simulator for me. So I've raced Mazda MX-5s out in Spain. So I've driven these cars, raced them. I know what it's like to brake really late in these cars and rely on the engine braking to slow down. I know what it's like to get on the power and feel that back end come round. I can tell you here what's realistic and what's not. And this gives me a realistic vibe of what it's like to drive these cars. Even just the field of view here and like the visibility. I know we're in the open top and I was also driving an open top, but it just feels like this is quite similar to what I was seeing. And sometimes in sim racing titles, it can feel quite claustrophobic when you're playing it on a screen, but I definitely didn't have that sensation here. Now, what I mean by fun is that this is a game where there's going to be a lot happening on the braking and there's going to be a lot happening on the throttle as well. I'm not sure whether it's the most realistic, but I think that's partly due to the fact that, and I'll try and explain this properly, when you drive a Mazda like this on a racetrack and you get on the throttle, you get on the loud pedal, you are going to feel the back end push in. I love the squatting. I love the squatting of those Mazdas. So awesome. I'll explain that as well. But you are going to feel when you get on the power, the kind of the back end push round, and you're going to loosen and tighten your grip on the wheel accordingly, and you're going to manage that really intuitively. In fact, I can tell you, as someone personally myself who raced an event as a inverted commas sim racer against real world track day people, if you drive a road car in real life and you do sim racing, you could race a Mazda MX-5 and do it very intuitively, in my view. So when you get on the throttle and the back end pushes around, you will control it very naturally. And a lot of that is due to the G-force, the greater perception you have of the horizon moving, greater connection to the RPM of the engine through the vibrations of the seat and everything. A lot of those elements are missing in Assetto Corsa EVO. So I have a feeling that EVO might be a game, and I'm a bit wary of saying this because I'm very cynical about motion and all these other gadgets, seatbelts that are coming out. But I feel like EVO is a game that is designed to work with all those gimmicks to give you a realistic sensation. And when you don't have the motion, when you don't have the seatbelts, and you don't have, the RPM coming through your active pedals, maybe it feels like you're missing a little bit and it's less realistic. But I hope that makes sense. It's a track day simulator, and I think they have a pretty good grasp on it. And anyone who's driving these cars in real life will, I think, attest to that. But let me know in the comments. Now, a car that I certainly haven't driven in real life is this. It's the current Ferrari 2025 F1 car before we go in 2026. And by the way, if you didn't know, I've been nominated for the Autosport Creator of the Year award alongside Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, and Oscar Piastri and loads of other people in those awards. So please do vote for me. I'll put the link in the description. I'd really appreciate it. And please share it as well. It'd be great to have a sim racer winning that. That would be unprecedented. But driving this Ferrari SF25 is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. This is way more fun than the Formula 1 games to me. I feel way more connected to the car. It feels way less arcadey. I can start to push and I can get experience oversteer. I can start to turn in too quickly and experience understeer. So it's really a rewarding, fun driving experience in my view with this car. I think this is a killer app for Assetto Corsa EVO, I've got to be honest. Like, I could just take this car and drive all of the tracks in EVO, and I've already getting way more money's worth than the current price of the game. Like, I genuinely mean it. This is a lot of fun. You can see here I've turned the halo off, which I recommend, and I just really love doing this, and I think I'd like it online as well. Now, you can see here we're driving the BMW GT3, so driving a GT3 car. So this is very much like ACC or Le Mans Ultimate, or dare I say Project Motor Racing. And you can see again how bad the AI is not really acceptable. They need to fix that, or I wouldn't even call it 1.0 AI. I'd be calling that like 0.25 version AI. It's like placeholder AI. And it does seem to struggle more at the start, but it just generally doesn't seem to be a fancy AI, but I've covered it. In terms of the graphics as well, by the way, the graphics in EVO for me have been incredible day one. I was driving the BMW M2 at Laguna Seca day one, or maybe earlier with press access, I can't remember, and it's always looked fantastic on my 4090. It has been pretty rough on my 4060 Ti. I will revisit it on lower end graphics cards, but when you brute force it, it just runs absolutely superbly. And I enjoyed the driving sensation in the GT3. I actually really enjoyed driving it. It feels like you can really push it. It feels less stiff or less punishing than in ACC, where I actually feel like I end up driving the cars quite rigidly. So I prefer it here. It feels a bit more fluid, like I can dance with it a bit more, I can push with it a bit more, I can lean into the tyres. There's a bit more of like a window with the tyres where I can try and extract performance. There's not like a cliff edge where I've like, oh, I'm already over the performance window and now I'm losing a load of time. So I really, really, really enjoyed driving the BMW GT3. It does, in that fluidness, I think, feel a little bit less sharp. And I would say a lot of the cars in EVO feel almost dampened, I would say. And I could also say like a little bit laggy, but there's big connotations with that word. But it doesn't feel like a one-to-one lightning quick reaction. It feels like you kind of have to be in tune with your car, and then if you're in tune with the car, it's absolutely fine. But if you weren't in tune with the car, I think it could be frustrating, because like I said, it feels like there's a little bit of like dampening or latency or something. But you can see here I'm in a groove, absolutely loving it at Laguna Seca. And again, I like the idea that you can push, and you're not just going to get understeer, for example. You're going to get oversteer sometimes if you're pushing too much, because there's more grip available than you think, which is quite exciting. That's something that you just wouldn't get at all in Gran Turismo, for example. Coming into the corkscrew here, sending it down, absolutely loving it. Now, let's go into the online. So, welcome to Assetto Corsa EVO Online. This is likely to be your first experience of online racing in Assetto Corsa EVO, starting in 26th place in the Ferrari SF25. Let's see where we end up by, for example, Lesmo 1. So this is the carnage that you're going to get. Now, there is a daily racing portal in Assetto Corsa EVO. I'm going to come out and say it. I don't like the fact that it's hidden in a browser. I don't like that. I want it to be integrated. I just think I represent either the more casual racer or the racer whose time is very valuable. And we don't want to be going into browsers to find things. It should be in the game. So I'm not sure what the issue is there. I'm sure they're working on it technically, but I'm not going to let anyone tell me that going through a browser is the best way to do online ranked racing. I will disagree with that. I'm not sure anyone else is saying that vocally, which would be interesting, but that's what I'm saying. But the racing itself online seemed to be pretty good, seemed to be pretty stable. The lobby size is fantastic. For example, if you're used to Gran Turismo 7, like we're well over the lobby size here, which is great. A lot of people doing tourist lobbies. So the Nürburgring tourist lobbies are crazy popular. That's interesting, because I was worried when EVO was doing a lot of press around Christmas last year, when they were talking about, oh, there's not going to be any mods, etc. And I was worried they were going to lose that kind of like track day crowd. And actually, it looks like they haven't. It looks like they've really got it. Now, again, there's server costs involved. You've got to pay for these servers. But they're bustling. People are absolutely loving it. In fact, I'm going to show you here what it looks like. They've even got the toll booth at the Nordschleife, which is great. I've been to the Nürburgring. I've driven the Nürburgring. I've driven out the pits like this, and there's definitely, well, for me at least, I'm getting butterflies as I'm going up to the toll booth. So this is fantastic. They totally get it. And Gran Turismo's completely missed a trick by not doing this, in my opinion. But yeah, now there's just a tourist day on the Nordschleife. And obviously they, the service requests that you follow the rules and drive on, overtake and indicate as you would do on a normal tourist day. I think we're one step away from servers running tourist days at the Nordschleife and collecting actual cash from drivers to do laps, and then servers can profit. We're very, very, very close to that. But yeah, so those lobbies are crazily populated, which I think is great for Assetto Corsa EVO. I'm at the point now where I can pretty much unequivocally recommend Assetto Corsa EVO for the discount. It's off and on, subject to the caveat that it runs really well on my 4090, but it might not run so well on lower spec machines. But you can see the lobbies here, like absolutely stacked they were on this evening, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to be trying out the VR very soon, and I'm really interested to see what that's like, because I think I was one of the few content creators in the world who really enjoyed the previous update for EVO, because I had a great time in VR. There were some glitches, but the sensation of actually driving, for example, the Caterham was absolutely fantastic. So I'm hoping the performance is going to be better in 0.4, but there's no guarantees. We'll see. But yeah, Assetto Corsa EVO, these are my thoughts. Great cars, great tracks. The handling is fun. The lobbies are populated. It's on the right tracks. It's on the right track. So fingers crossed we see some more. I did say that Free Roam would not come out in 2025, and I think I'm correct so far. Let's see. But I'll see you in the next one.